Good morning. It is your boy Jay Goble back at it again for Not Many Noble, reading the Bible through in 22 with you. It is August 7th. Good morning. And it is National Friendship Day, National Sisters Day, National Lighthouse Day, Aged Care Employee Day, Professional Speakers Day. That's right. That is right. 219 days that we have been reading the Bible together this year, and 146 days are left. We are in Daniel chapter 2 and Jeremiah chapter 7 for today's reading. As always, it comes out of the World English Bible Translation, which is royalty-free, in public domain. That's why we use it, because we can do it. It's all right. It's all right. It's a fairly decent translation. I think it's okay. We're kind of picking up where we left off yesterday, which was with Daniel. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and his sleep went from him. Then the king commanded that the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans be called to tell the king his dreams. So they came in and stood before the king. The king said to them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. Then the Chaldean spoke to the king in the Syrian language, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered the Chaldeans, The thing has gone from me. If you don't make known to me the dream and its interpretation, you will be cut in pieces, and your houses will be made a dunghill. But if you show the dream and its interpretation, you will receive from me gifts, rewards, and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and its interpretation. They answered the second time and said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered, I know of a certainty that you are trying to gain time, because you see the thing has gone from me. But if you don't make known to me the dream, there is but one law for you. For you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me until the situation changes. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I will know that you can show me its interpretation. That makes a lot of sense. King Neb is like, hold on a minute. If I tell you what it is, then in some translation, so in this translation, it kind of makes it sound like he's forgotten the dream, or like it's not quite there. It's like there's remnants of the dream, but he can't quite remember all the details of it. So for him to know that you do indeed have this ability to interpret dreams, certainly you should be able to know the dream as well. You're saying, I know you're playing for time right now. You're trying to buy time. But if you can tell me what I dreamt, then I will know for sure that you can tell me what it means instead of just making stuff up. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is not a man on the earth who can show the king's matter, because no king, lord, or ruler has asked such a thing of any magician, enchanter, or Chaldean. It is a rare thing that the king requires, and there is no other who can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Because of this, the king was angry and very furious and commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be destroyed. Like, oh, okay. All right. Guess y'all was plotting on me to begin with. Kill them all. So the decree went out, and the wise men were to be slain. They sought Daniel and his companions to be slain. Then Daniel returned to answer with counsel and prudence to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, who had gone out to kill the wise men of Babylon. He answered Arioch, the king's captain, Why is the decree so urgent from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would appoint him a time, and he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his companions would not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. He changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. I thank you and praise you, O God of my fathers, who have given me wisdom and might, and have now made known to me what we desired of you. For you have made known to us the king's matter. Isn't that crazy? So Daniel's about ready to be killed, and his friends, in a foreign land. So he is in the wrong place. He's not in the promised land. he's in a foreign land. He is called the wrong name. He's not called by his Hebrew name. He is called by the name of this new god. And he is supposed to be serving, it gets a little more dramatic later, but a new god, not serving Yahweh. He's supposed to be eating new food, different food he's not supposed to. Like, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong for Daniel right now. And when it gets worse, he's going to die. What does he do? He doesn't come up with a plan of escape. He doesn't come up with a plan of deception. He doesn't come up with a plan to fight, which you could think that, man, all those are reasonable plans. We're behind enemy lines here. We are behind. We have been taken prisoner. We have been kidnapped. We have been stolen from our home and brought to a new land as slaves. Surely we should be able to fight our way out. Surely it would be okay for an uprising. Surely no one would judge us too harshly if we took the opportunity of this chaos to try and escape with our lives. Right? But that's not what he does. He doesn't make any of those plans. He tells his friends, and they pray to God. They pray to God, and then they wait on the Lord. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. There is an urgency here. There is an urgency. And they wait upon the Lord. How about that? Therefore Daniel went into Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said this to him: don't destroy the wise men of Babylon. He doesn't just save himself, he saves all these other charlatans and these idolaters and these false teachers and these false prophets and these sorcerers and enchanters and all these quote unquote wicked people. Maybe not even, get rid of the quotes. These wicked people, these wicked men who end up turning him on him, trying to make him, they get jealous. Like, he leaves them alive. He pleads for their lives as well. He has mercy on his enemies. He loves his enemies. Don't destroy the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show to the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste and said this to him: I have found a man of the children of the captivity of Judah who will make known to the king the interpretation. The king answered Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar. Remember, we talked about he got a bad name. He got the wrong name. He got a new name named after his God, the wrong God. Are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen and its interpretation? Daniel answered before the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded can't be shown to the king by wise men, enchanters, magicians, or soothsayers. But there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets, and he has made known to the king, to King Nebuchadnezzar, what will be in the latter days. Your dream and the visions of your head on your bed are these. So he's saying, no, nobody can do what you've asked, but there is a God, and this is what he's done, and he is going to reveal to you right now what he's going to do. As for you, O king, your thoughts came on your bed, what should happen hereafter, and he who reveals secrets has made known to you what will happen. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have, more than any living, but to the intent that the interpretation may be known to the king, and that you may know the thoughts of your heart. You, O king, saw and behold a great image. This image, which was mighty, and whose brightness was excellent, stood before you, and its appearance was terrifying. As for this image, its head was of fine gold, its breast of its arms of silver, its belly and its thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet part of iron and part of clay. You saw until a stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on its feet that were of iron and clay and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken in pieces together and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. The wind carried them away, so that no place was found for them. The stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell its interpretation before the king. You, O king, are King of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, the strength, and the glory. Notice it was given to you. Given to you. Wherever the children of men dwell, he has given the animals of the field and the birds of the sky into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. After you another kingdom will arise that that is inferior to you, and another third kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all the earth. The fourth kingdom will be strong as iron, because iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things, and as iron that crushes all these, it will break in pieces and crush. Whereas you saw the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, it will be a divided kingdom. But there will be in it of the strength of the iron, because you saw the iron mixed with miry clay. As the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom will be partly strong and partly broken. Whereas you saw the iron mixed with miry clay, they will mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they won't cling to one another, even as iron does not mix with clay. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed. Not yours, right? Not yours. A different kingdom. Nor will its sovereignty be left to another people, but it will break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it will stand forever. Because you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will happen hereafter. The dream is certain, and its interpretation sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face, worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an offering and sweet odors to him. The king answered to Daniel and said, "Of a truth, your God is the God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you have been able to reveal this secret." Then the king made Daniel great, and gave him many great gifts, and made him rule over the whole province of Babylon, and to be chief governor over all the wise men of Babylon. Daniel requested of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So really, if we're using their Babylonian names, it should be Belteshazzar, right? Requested of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel was in the king's gate, because that's right. Their Hebrew names. Their Hebrew names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay, cool. So what does King Neb do? And he's like, "Oh yeah, you got it. Your God is the God of gods, etc., etc., etc." Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. He's saying, "No, my kingdom is going to reign forever. I don't care what your God says. Not just a head of gold, the whole body is going to be gold." Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the local governors, the deputies, and the governors, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the local governors, the deputies, the governors, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, peoples, nations, and languages, that whenever you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, that you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. Whoever doesn't fall down and worship shall be cast into the middle of a burning fiery furnace the same hour." That's interesting, right? That's interesting. So what is King Neb thinking? Well, he's trying to, and we see this all the time in our day as well, don't we? Like there's an evil, which he knows is evil, and it's against God, and he's trying to present it, but he knows it's wrong. But if he can get everybody to go along with it, maybe he can make it right for himself. So this rebellion against God, we see it all over the place. If I can force everyone else to agree with me, if I can force everyone else to say yes when God has clearly said no, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be right. Therefore, blah, 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 at that time, when all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, all the peoples, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Therefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and brought accusations against the Jews, the guy that just saved his life. Saved all of them, but now he's ruling them, and they're not happy about that, though they should be dead. No gratitude there, huh? They answered Nebuchadnezzar the king, "O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever doesn't fall down and worship shall be cast into the middle of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not respected you. They don't serve your gods and don't worship the golden image which you have set up. Okay, so then they ain't stepping to Daniel. Sorry, let me back up. They ain't stepping to Daniel. They're stepping to the people that they think they can hurt. They can have some authority over. They don't know they can't touch Daniel for now. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. Then these men were brought before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered them, "Is it on purpose, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you don't serve my God, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if you are ready, whenever you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, to fall down and worship the image which I have made, good. But if you don't worship, you shall be cast the same hour into the middle of a burning fiery furnace. Who is that God who will deliver you out of my hands?" And moreover, it is a test of gods. He is testing God. He's saying, who is this God who tells me that my kingdom will not last forever? Who is this God who dares to deliver you out of my hand? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I'm a God. I am stronger. I am more powerful. I think, was it the Babylonians? Were they Babylonian? Yeah, so I am Marduk. You know what I'm saying? He was the national god of Babylon, sometimes called Baal or Lord, right? The Enuma Elish, it was at that time. So this god Marduk, so let's not get too far into it. But anyways, the king was this representation of the God on earth. Like the story is tied together. It's not just he's the king. Like he's the king with idolatrous undertones and an idolatrous identity against the God of the Bible. So, all right. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, "Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If it happens, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image which you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the form of his appearance was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was usually heated. He commanded certain mighty men who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the fiery furnace. These men were bound in their pants, their tunics, and their mantles, and their other clothes. They just grab them. There's no rush, no nothing. Throw them, and were cast into the middle of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. One of the times when it is not great to be a mighty man in the army. These 3 men, you don't want to be selected for that duty. These 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the middle of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste. He spoke and said to his counselors, "Didn't we cast 3 men bound into the middle of the fire?" They answered the king, "True, O king." He answered, "Look, I see 4 men loose walking in the middle of the fire, and they are unharmed. The appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods." Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace. He spoke and said, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come out and come here." Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the middle of the fire. The local governors, the deputies, and the governors, and the king's counselors being gathered together saw these men that the fire had no power on their bodies. The hair of their head wasn't singed, their pants weren't changed, the smell of fire wasn't even on them. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and have yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything evil against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God who is able to deliver like this." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of of Babylon. How about that? They have yielded their bodies. That's right. Yielded their bodies. I think it's interesting that, it's about, they're sold out. They are sold out for it. We got to be that. We need to be that. We are that. We are that. Come on now. We are that. All right. The following prophecies were probably given in the years before Nebuchadnezzar captured Jerusalem in 597 BC. This is Jeremiah 7. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, stand in the gate of Yahweh's house and proclaim this word there and say, hear Yahweh's word, all of you Judah, who enter in these gates to worship Yahweh. Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Don't trust in lying words, saying, Yahweh's temple, Yahweh's temple, Yahweh's temple are these. For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute justice between a man and his neighbor, if you don't oppress the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, and don't shed innocent blood in this place, and don't walk after other gods to your own hurt, then I will cause you to dwell in this place, in the land that I have given to your fathers, from of old, even forevermore. Behold, you trust in lying words that can't profit. Will you steal, murder, commit adultery, swear falsely, burn incense to Baal, and walk after other gods that you have not known? Then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, we are delivered, that you may do all these abominations? Has this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, I myself have seen it, says Yahweh. Which is interesting, right? Because they're playing religion. They're saying Yahweh's temple, Yahweh's temple, Yahweh's temple. Like, hey, we doing the things that we got to do, serve this Yahweh God. But we're hedging our bets. We're going to do everything. Well, one, we're going to do everything we want to do. And secondly, we're hedging our bets. We're going to serve other gods as well, just to make sure if this other dude don't come through for us, we got backup plan. But go now to my place, which was in Shiloh, where I caused my name to dwell at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. Now because you have done all these works, says Yahweh, and I spoke to you, rising up early and speaking, but you didn't hear, and I called, but you didn't answer. Therefore I will do to the house which is called by my name, in which you trust, and to the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I did to Shiloh. I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brothers, even the whole offspring of Ephraim. Kind of sounds like wisdom calling out, right, in the Proverbs that we read, where it says, I called, but you didn't answer. I rose up early and spoke, but you didn't hear. I called, but you refused. You refused to hear. Instead, they chose foolishness instead of wisdom. Therefore, don't pray for this people. Don't lift up a cry or prayer for them to make intercession to me, for I will not hear you. Don't you see what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead the dough to make cakes to the queen of the sky, and to pour out drink offerings to other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, says Yahweh? Don't they provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore the Lord Yahweh says, behold, my anger and my wrath will be poured out on this place, on man, on animal, on the trees of the field, and on the fruit of the ground, and it will burn and will not be quenched. So you want to save the earth, right? Carbon credits doesn't sound like it's the way to go. Driving electric cars doesn't sound like it's the way to go. Instead, repent and turn from your sin. And so the Lord's wrath might not be poured out on this place. Yeah, I said it. I did that. I said that. Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices and eat meat. For I didn't speak to your fathers or command them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. But this thing I commanded them, saying, listen to my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. Walk in all the way that I command you, that I may dwell with you. But they didn't listen or turn their ear, but walked in their own counsels, and in the stubbornness of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came out of the land of Egypt to this day, I have sent to you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up and early and sending them. Yet they didn't listen to me or incline their ear, but made their necks stiff. They did worse than their fathers. You shall speak all these words to them, but they will not listen to you. You shall also call to them, but they will not answer you. You shall tell them, this is the nation that has not listened to Yahweh, their God's voice, nor received instruction. Truth has perished, and it is cut off from their mouth. Cut off your hair and throw it away, and take up a lamentation on the bare heights, for Yahweh has rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah have done that which is evil in my sight, says Yahweh. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to defile it. They have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I didn't command, nor did it come into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it will no more be called Topheth, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. I think we already read this. Why does this sound so familiar? All right, never mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it will no more be called Topheth, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter, for they will bury in Topheth until there is no place to bury. The dead bodies of this people will be food for the birds of the sky and for the animals of the earth. No one will frighten them away. Then I will cause to cease from the cities of the Judah. Man, I'm killing it. Sorry, I got distracted. I got pulled out of it. I'm just saying. I got pulled out of it because I was like, I think I've already read this. And then I should have just kept going. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at. Then I will cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land will become a waste. At that time, says Yahweh, they will bring the bones of the kings of Judah, the bones of his princes, the bones of the priests, the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. They will spread them before the sun, the moon, and all the army of the sky, which they have loved, which they have served, after which they have walked, which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. They will not be gathered or be buried. They will be like dung on the surface of the earth. Death will be chosen rather than life by all the residue that remain of this evil family, that remain in all the places where I have driven them, says Yahweh of armies. Well, that's it. I mean, that's what the reading list said. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't mess that up. But I'm fairly certain that's it. I was right. That's what I was supposed to read. Read what I was supposed to read. So whether it's good or not, whether it's right or not, or whether I messed up someplace else, that remains to be seen, right? But we are going to pray for Norm and Kathy Beasley as well here. Norm and Kathy Beasley. They are with Wycliffe Bible translators worldwide, and they have a lot of challenges in their ministry. They want clear communications, good working relationships, safety in travel, and wisdom and grace in resolving problems and issues. Norm's also got an upcoming shoulder replacement surgery, and they need continued healing. And we're going to pray for those things for them. And then we're going to beat rock the boogie, and we're going to get up on out of here. So thank you for hanging in there with me. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for your word. And I pray that we would draw the right lessons from the stories, the history that we read of your people in bondage in Babylon. When we read about Daniel, when we read about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, when we read the defiance, the notice of defiance, and the things that they do and the things that they said, we want to be like them, but we want to be like them in the right way. We want to trust in you, but we want to obey you, and we want to learn from these things the right things. So give us wisdom to understand. Give wisdom also to Norm and Kathy Beasley as they pursue clear communications with their co-workers, good working relationships, both inside and outside of Wycliffe Bible translators, safety as they travel around the globe, looking to resolve problems and issues and serve people, grace as they do that as well, that you would please heal and strengthen their bodies, and that also you would prepare Norm for the shoulder replacement surgery that he's got coming up, that you would give the doctors grace to be good with the knife or whatever it is that they're using to perform the surgery, that you would steady their hands, and that you would keep infection and any post-surgery problems far from them, and that you would heal and strengthen their bodies, Lord. Also encourage their souls that they might take comfort in the Lord Jesus Christ, and for us as well, and in whose name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Show notes at notmanynoble.com. If you want to hit me up, you can always do that at notmanynoble@gmail.com. Have a great day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.